I got a junk basket, and I got a...
It used to be worse, but then I moved and I threw everything away, so.
Including your husband.
Yes. Welcome to Property Management Uncensored. I am Phil Kazmierczak along with Samantha McKinney. Today's episode is Vibe, Visuals, and Vacancy Voodoo. I've been using alliteration in all of our titles recently.
I couldn't say that if my job depended on it.
It could.
Vibes,
Visuals, and Vacancy Voodoo.
Yep, that.
We'll see what we're adding into your next review. So first, we'll address. We took we film on Tuesdays, and the episode comes out the following Monday. We took off 2 Tuesdays ago because life happens. Like I had a situation with my dog, and he's got heart disease and he's starting to cough, which is not a good sign when you have heart disease. And the vet was like, "Bring him in," and I was like, "Okay, I'll bring him in. I got some things to do." And she was like, "No, now." So I dropped everything, ran home, got the dog, and took him to the vet and changed his medication.
You take better care of your dog than most people do their kids. I think it's endearing.
He is very spoiled.
He is.
He's now, with all the medications, he's between $500 and $600 a month. Yeah, in his insurance and pills.
Yeah, see, I'd drop my kids off at the fire station at that point. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's an expensive,
That's
older
true
pit bull.
loyalty.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he should live out his glory days the best he can.
Yeah, little
I
old
think.
man.
I know. Little old man. He just sleeps all the time now. All right. So today's episode, Vibe, Visuals, and Vacancy Voodoo. We're going to talk about all of the things that you need to do to get your property ready so it's going to show great for prospective tenants. First thing we're going to talk about is getting the home ready for photos. Now, Samantha, you do our pre-listing inspections.
Yes.
What do you see and what do you want to see when you first get to the property?
I want to see, well, it just depends. It depends if the property is vacant or if it's still, owner occupied. But I want to see a clean, tidy home. But I mean, so I'm going to walk through, I'm going to let you know what to do. A lot of owners are under the impression that they're ready for photos already, but then they have these big, massive, like family photos hanging up on the living room wall. And I'm like, you do realize this is going up on the internet. Just a lot of, I've come to learn that there's different levels of cleanliness and a different standard that everybody has of what is considered clutter and what's not. Mm-hmm. And I have high standards because I have OCD. And, I don't want your closet to be color coordinated. Mine is, unfortunately. But, I want to see things up on the hangers, and not, piled up on the floor and things like that. Cereal boxes on top of, fridges and things like that we don't want to see.
Yeah, I think that for a lot of people, and it depends on their specific living situation. For example, if someone has, 4 kids and they're all under the age of 8, their standard of cleanliness may be a lot different than yours or mine, depending on how many toys are around. And that's normal. You've got a family, the kids are out playing. We just need to adapt to, whatever level that they want the property to be seen in. But for photos, it needs to look really good.
Yes.
Like no one lives there at all. We tell people you should only have a couple things on the counters, depending on how big the counters are, probably 2 or 3, maybe a blender, a toaster, not a toaster in your house.
I don't even like those.
Because you don't even have a toaster.
Because I don't like them. I don't like them.
Yeah, but we want to make sure that we're not seeing those cereal boxes. We don't want, the toy trucks all on the floor. There are
dog crates, break them down,
absolutely.
Tuck them away.
Yeah, they don't show well. Musicians, like we don't want every piece of equipment that you own thrown on the floor of your den or bedroom or whatever that you are using as your music room. It's got to show well because we want the tenants to envision themselves living in that property.
It's first impression too.
Absolutely. And it's one of those help me help you. Like just let's just make some tweaks here and your property is going to show great.
Yep. I like the houses with garages because I'm like, tuck it away in there. I'm like, I've never shown a property and they say I'm not going to rent it because there's stuff in the garage.
Right.
So.
Right. Even when on sale listings, we see a lot of clutter and a lot of photos with other brokerages because our agents are pretty good about explaining the benefits of ensuring that it's clean. And we do the same thing on the rental side. We want it clean, decluttered. Tenants should be able to walk in and envision themselves living in that space.
Yesterday, I went to a house for, I don't know if it was the 4th or the 5th time, because every time I go, I'm like, I don't like this. This is a no. This is a no. And it's just not there. Like, I wouldn't look at the house and be like, oh, I want to live there. So, yeah, still.
Yeah, when we put a property on the market, we want it to rent as fast as possible for the highest price we can possibly get. On average right now, depending on the type of property, condos are sitting on the market for much longer, but single-family houses maybe a week, 2 weeks. Overall average is probably a little over 3 weeks right now when you factor everything together. But they need to be ready. They have to be ready because if they don't show well, they're going to sit on the market and you are costing yourself money.
I mean, that property, if it would have been ready, it could have went up over a month ago. So we could have had somebody.
I went to this property, correct?
Yeah. So, okay. So I think I've gone 4 times now. You've gone once, in total 5.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's one of those things that, I mean, we just want the property to rent as fast as possible. That's it. Let's talk about curb appeal. When you pull up to a house, whether it's vacant or owner occupied, what do you see and what do you want to see?
For the most part, people will cut and trim their lawns, pretty well. But a lot of people don't like to weed their flower beds and don't like to remulch and, give it that clean.
How does that make you feel? Because you love doing that kind of stuff.
I mean, it's so easy. They have sales at Lowe's every summer on mulch. You get like 6 bags. Pay a neighborhood kid to drag them over, throw it in there. Even if you don't want to put down, make it look nice. So, I mean, there's a difference between it being okay and, fine and it looking nice. Right. There's a big difference.
If I'm a tenant and I go up to a house and I see a nice cut lawn, I see fresh mulch, I see flowers blooming if we're in, spring or summer, I'm going to be like, wow, this owner takes care of their home, which means they're going to take care of anything that comes up. That is a huge deal. If you go up to a home and you see the lawn hasn't been kept up, the flowers are dead, it hasn't been mulched in years, what does that tell you about the owner? It tells you that, they're probably, just doing what they have to do to get by.
Yep.
That's not what you want tenants to see. Because you want tenants that are going to take care of your property.
And there's a lot of prospects that we have that have already a bad situation that they've had in the past, and they're already nervous to re-rent from a private landlord or, a property management company. So to give them a turnaround is nice.
Right. When you do that walkthrough with the owner initially, what is something that has there anything that's caught you off guard where you're like, oh, wow, I can't believe they thought that was okay? Or is there something that you thought they would have done prior to you arriving? Let's put it that way.
No, because I feel like I've seen like the black, I've seen the white, and I've seen so much gray that nothing really...
Nothing shocks you anymore?
No, it really doesn't, unfortunately. I wish I had a different answer, but I mean, because you have... Yeah, I mean, like I said, everybody has a different standard of things. So I've walked into, things that are pristine and I'm like, I could eat my dinner off of this floor. And then I've walked into some where I'm like, this is
a problem.
Yeah.
My house is photo ready all the time.
I walked into one and it was clean. They said it was, going to be photo ready, and they had very, very deep red couches, and their family photo was huge on the wall. And there were 2 living rooms, one in the front, one in the back. In the front living room, they were all wearing red shirts and it just was like this huge, odd red room.
That's going to be on the internet for years.
And there was the plants, but they were red, and it was just all red.
Sounds like they had a theme going.
And I was like, this is, how do you tell somebody that their taste is wrong? You can't.
Well, we may want to make this a little more neutral.
Yeah. take down. But it's their family photo and their couch. Like, it's big stuff, you know,
Right.
that are.
Yeah. Can't really do too much with the furniture.
Yeah.
Slip covers.
There
Maybe.
we go. Yeah, there
Maybe.
you go.
Just make it a little more neutral looking.
Yeah.
And decluttering.
Yeah, and tacky.
You never know what you're going to walk into in any situation like that. Just like when we do an inspection with a tenant. They've been in the property, roughly 6 months. You walk in. When you see the ones that are taking care of the property, you're like, oh, good. This is great. And then you see others, and there is stuff everywhere, mattresses on the floor. And you're like, oh, gosh.
Yeah.
We may not want to offer a renewal to these people.
Speaking of mattresses on the floor, that is something that I've come to realize is not the most uncommon thing. Some people choose to sleep on mattresses on the floor.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It's very, very common.
I was like, yeah, because I do the 6-month condition inspections. And, the first time I did it, I was like, oh, they just moved in. They haven't gotten a bed frame yet. And then I go 6 months later and I'm like, all right. And then I'll go and I'm like, okay, this is, a thing.
Yeah.
So
there's one particular property we have where I think the mattresses are still on the floor. They've been in the property a couple years, and this is not a cheap rental. I just don't.
I think I know which one you're talking about, and they're very particular about their shoes in the house.
Yes,
I know which one you're talking about. Yeah,
absolutely. And I didn't ask. I don't really care. I mean, pay your rent on time, keep the property in great condition, submit work orders as needed. They've been great tenants. Yeah, they're just very minimalist. That's
minimalist.
Great.
But the craziest thing, minimalists have like almost nothing in the property, but they have a Christmas tree in the living room.
Really?
Yes, and it stays up all year.
I don't even do that.
Yeah.
Last year I didn't.
I mean, you could do like a Charlie Brown tree or something.
Maybe I'll do something this year. We'll see.
I'm gonna come over. I know your lockbox code.
Samantha goes over to the house and lets Cooper out. Like if I'm stuck in meetings
you're
or
gonna come
at
home
a property.
one day and have a Christmas tree up, and you're gonna be like, all right.
I threw away our last Christmas tree. It was artificial, and it was probably 7 or 8 years old, and those things just don't last.
Okay, well, that's where like becoming that old ornery or old man starts.
That's me.
Okay, is when you stop getting a Christmas tree. We're gonna fix that.
We'll see. I don't know about all that. So we use professional photography at all of our properties. And that's one of the things that set us apart from a lot of the other property management companies. We do photos and Matterport tours of all of our properties. The Matterport tour, for people that don't know, it creates a walking tour throughout the property. So if we have military coming from San Diego or Florida or something like that, they don't have to actually physically see the property. They can walk through it just using that Matterport tour.
Yeah, that thing is nice.
It is very,
very nice. And the photos are nice. I would let them take my family photos.
I know.
They're nice.
Most of our photographers are very good.
Yeah.
We've got one here that's a little iffy. I'm looking at Grant, who's recording this. Probably one of the best in the area, actually. So no complaints there whatsoever. Going to be doing some big lifestyle videos coming up pretty soon. I think you're going to be in at least one of them.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun.
I don't know. Do I get a say-so in these? Yeah, because I'm asked to do them, but like I don't.
It's sort of an expectation.
Yeah, I think I'm like voluntold.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't even know if I'm going to be in this one. I haven't decided yet.
Okay.
I think we may have enough people. They don't need to see me.
I got another one that I got to do. So they said, not your normal look, country.
Oh, yeah. I did see that one.
Country.
All right. Let's see. And then after we do photos and everything like that, we're on the market within 48 hours. So it is a pretty quick process. So our entire process, they sign the management agreement. Samantha does the pre-listing inspection. We do any repairs needed. And then we schedule photography. And you're on the market within about 48 hours after that. So it is a very quick process if the client wants it to be. Mm-hmm. If they want to take their time and do repairs, paint a room at a time, absolutely up to them. Whatever. And we do have some that are like that.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, we'll get to it when we get to it. They're not in a pinch. They move out. They're, maybe living across town or something. They're like, yeah, we go back on the weekends, do some work. We'll let you know when it's ready. That's fine. We'll be ready whenever you are.
Yeah.
That's it. When you're doing showings of these properties, what type of feedback do you get?
To be completely honest, I don't get a ton of feedback. A lot of the feedback will come after they're not so much face-to-face with you.
That's the point I want to get to. Okay,
yeah.
Good. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. So I don't get a lot face-to-face, but one of the biggest ones that I see come back that it says that everything was great, but they're going to keep looking, maybe just not what, they were necessarily looking for. Not at market rent. I think that one comes in because they don't quite understand, like they want it to be cheaper. Obviously, everybody wants everything to be cheaper in life.
Yeah.
Usually those, I don't see a ton of negative feedback.
Yeah, all right. Well, first of all, our properties are
standard.
I was going to say, first of all, our properties are nice. But secondly, I am seeing that there is a I don't want to phrase it in a bad way, but people don't like confrontation. Like they don't want to tell you while they're showing the property, wow, Samantha, this property sucks. Like,
exactly.
They won't do that. They'll wait until they get back and then they'll, email in or something like that and be like, no, it just wasn't the right one for us. Which is fine as long as we get that kind of feedback. But we do want feedback if it's something that we can change.
Yeah.
Like if they're like, the house is just a little messy, I'm not sure. That stuff we can have the owner clean it up, make it better, declutter, whatever.
If I were to say I had number one, it would be paint.
Yep. There's a lot of funky colors out there.
People, start painting your house neutral colors, please.
I know. After I just painted my dining room
Still
blue.
upset we could not find that Lion King room.
Oh, I know.
I looked everywhere for that thing.
I know.
But I'm going to do the 6-month condition inspection at some point, and I'm going to write it down.
And you're going to know which one it is, and then we will talk about it, which property that is. So that is all we've got today in Vibe Visuals and Vacancy Voodoo. Samantha, it is time to do our questions, the rapid fire questions. It is your turn, so go ahead.
What's your guilty pleasure song?
Ooh. It could be, it depends on the genre of music. It could be anything from early 2000s, like Britney Spears, NSYNC, the boy bands. Like it could be anything from like back then.
Okay.
They rock out to that. Celine Dion going down the highway.
There we go. Yeah.
But then it may go right into Eminem, or it may go into Aerosmith, or I'm all over the place.
Good options though.
Yeah.
We don't like people who have bad taste in music.
That's right.
Most ridiculous reason you haven't gone out on a second date with someone.
I know exactly what this is. It's gonna make me look so shallow. I don't like glasses.
Glasses?
Yep.
I mean, you can get LASIK eye surgery. I mean, it's fixable.
I had it. I don't like glasses.
On girls and guys or just guys?
Just guys.
Because I was like, wait, once I asked you, I was like, glasses, right? And you were like, no, glasses.
Exactly.
So, okay.
I don't like glasses.
If you could switch lives with one celebrity known for their crazy lifestyle, who would it be?
Crazy lives? Kim Kardashian.
Okay. Speaking of crazy, have you seen Amanda Bynes lately?
Yes.
Lord, bless her heart.
I know.
I hope she finds Jesus.
She's finding something.
Craziest rumor you've ever heard about yourself?
I think they're all true.
Okay, then they're not rumors.
They're not rumors then at that point.
It doesn't
Pretty
even
sure.
count.
I don't know that I've heard anything that wasn't in some way remotely true.
You're like, okay, I own that. You're like, yeah, it happened.
It is what it is. I'm not losing sleep over other people's
opinion. And that's
opinion.
on self-awareness. If you were to be given a best and a worst award, what would your best be and what would your worst be?
Best, I think, would be probably something to do with being detail-oriented or organized, something like that.
Yeah.
Worst would probably be... How can I phrase it? If I don't care about something, I don't care about it. Like,
There's got to be a word for that, but what is it?
I don't know. But there are things that I'm just like, I'm not choosing to care about that today, and I just completely write it off. I'm not dealing with that. I used to have a boss a long time ago, and he'd be like, I don't have listening skills for this today.
Selective caring.
Yes.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the most ghetto thing or like self-fix thing in your house?
Have you been to my house?
Yeah.
That's a tough
I know, and
question.
we were just talking about you literally do the dishes before your cleaner comes over. Who does that? Okay. There has to be. Do you have a junk drawer? Do you even have a junk drawer?
I do have a junk drawer.
Every home.
It's in the kitchen, and it has like work gloves in it and a couple pens and chargers and.
I can't even open my junk drawer.
What? So
and I got a junk basket, and I got a.
It used to be worse, but then I moved and I threw everything away. So
including your husband.
Yes.
That's where it went. All the clutter.
I don't think he watches this.
Yeah, you probably don't have like a.
I don't have anything that's
a self-fix
like
thing.
I don't. Everything works. I mean, at the last house, we had a spigot that would not stop dripping unless you did use the shutoff inside. So I mean, at that house, it was something like that.
Okay, all right.
But this house, nothing.
If you had to live on a TV show forever, which one would it be?
I just thought about something from my house.
What?
Both in my in the primary shower, the big shower.
Yeah.
Both of the shower handles are backwards. Both of them. So if you go to turn cold, it's actually hot, and hot is cold on both of them.
That would keep me awake at night, though.
I'm not changing it at this point.
But you don't use that shower, right?
No, I do use. That's the main shower, like the one in my bathroom.
Oh, the one in
the big one, the one that's like 9x4.
Oh,
Actually,
yeah.
It's 6x4.
God, that bathroom is so pretty.
Yeah,
Who
but
has
that's
a chandelier in their bathroom?
There's 2 in mine.
Ridiculous.
What was your question?
If you had to live on a TV show forever, which one?
It would be a political drama, probably something like The West Wing.
Okay.
House of Cards. I just finished watching that for the second time.
Judge Judy would be a funny one.
If you can be the judge.
Yeah.
That would be funny.
If you could rename yourself, what would you name yourself?
Not Philip Mark Kazmierczak Jr., I can tell you that.
What would you be?
I'm in these, social groups, and we're introducing ourselves, and everyone's got these cool names. I'm like, I'm Phil. Thanks, Mom and Dad. I really got screwed on that one. I thought when I was younger, or when I went to college, I was like, maybe I'll just go by my middle name, Mark. And I was like, that's not even.
Oh, just switch for one poison over the other?
Yeah. I mean, it would be something more up to date, I guess. Anything. Ethan, Braden, Colin.
Ooh, Colin.
Like,
I don't
Steven,
think I know a single Colin
Grant,
that's not blonde.
Anything. Yeah, anything.
You could even be a Sam.
I could.
No, that's funny. I think I went to go joke and say something about you calling you Philip one day, and you were like, "You like your job?"
That's right. Go ahead, do it.
If you were the weather for a day, what would your forecast be?
It would be sunny, 85, and probably 15-mile-an-hour winds because I like it gusty. Because I'm gusty.
Okay. Gusty and dusty.
Oh my gosh, is that it?
Yep.
Oh my gosh, we made it to the end of another episode of Property Management Uncensored. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.